Hello everyone. For our third video of the Halloween season, we're going to take a look at Shelby Oaks, the feature film directorial debut of YouTuber Chris Stuckmann.
He's a really big prick.
As well as ask ourselves the question, do dreams really come true, or is life completely meaningless? Spoiler alert, it's meaningless. Do you like movies where people scream a lot? Well, then I've got a movie made just for you. So, sit back, relax, and make sure that your flashlights have plenty of batteries, folks, as we take a spoiler-free look at Shelby Oaks. But, before we get into that, if you could help me reach 2,000 subs by pressing the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, here we go. Shelby Oaks, as I said earlier, is the feature debut of Chris Stuckmann. It's written and directed by him, and it stars Camille Sullivan as Mia, a woman who has been desperately looking for her sister Riley, who's been missing for 12 years. You see, Riley was a YouTuber who, along with her friends, hosted a channel called Paranormal Paranoids, a ghost adventure-style show where she and her friends investigated supposedly haunted locations. Having been missing for so long, the case has gone cold. That is, until one day, a mysterious man arrives at Mia's home with a special surprise. A videotape that shows what happened to Riley and her friends on the day they went missing. Having this tape does inspire Mia to conduct her own investigation, and in doing so, she uncovers more than she ever could have bargained for, leading her to strange locations, encountering strange people, and fighting off a demon known only as the Incubus. And without any further pretense, I'm just going to get to the point and say that Shelby Oaks is not a good movie. It's a poorly paced film with a weak script that is not strong enough to handle a feature-length runtime. It seems to be a movie made by a guy who is more interested in emulating horror movies that he likes rather than a guy who was trying to make something wholly original. Now, before I get into all that, there are some things about Shelby Oaks that should be praised. The first being that on a technical level, the movie looks great. The cinematographer, Andrew Scott Baird, really does a great job creating a scary atmosphere throughout the movie, especially with the lighting. Up until now, I've not been familiar with his work, but he's almost had a decade of experience working in television as well as low-budget movies, and I was very impressed with his work. The creature designs of the Incubus demon are also very good, which will come as no surprise if you're aware of the concept artist Carlos Huante, who did the creature designs for this movie. This guy has done a ton of work on a lot of big projects, like Dune, all 3 Men in Black movies, Hellboy, Blade Runner 2049, X-Men 3, and the list goes on. And as a quick side note, I'll give a lot of credit to Chris Stuckmann for only showing this demon as much as he needed to. I think most people would rely too heavily on such a great creature design and show it way too much. But Stuckmann shows great restraint in not doing that, and I think that was a smart idea. Also, to Stuckmann's credit, he obviously knows his way around a camera. He composes his shots very well, and as far as directing his actors, seems to get good performances out of them. I also thought that using a found footage format to introduce and set up the backstory leading up to the events of the film, and then transitioning to a more traditional narrative was an interesting idea. However, with all that said, Shelby Oaks does fall very short of being worth seeing, and the biggest reason for that is its script. If you've seen Stuckmann's previous work as a writer, his short films Auditorium 6 and Notes from Melanie, then you already know that his writing is just not very good. And Shelby Oaks is no exception, relying way too much on exposition that's told through flashbacks, as well as more than its fair share of contrivances that border on laughable. One moment that stands out in particular is when a character finds a photo album that just so happens to be full of pictures that explain in great detail all the events that have happened to another person since Mia's sister has gone missing. For the sake of spoilers, I won't say any more than that, but all I could think when seeing this on screen was, wow, that certainly is convenient. Good thing they found that laying around, huh? And also, who developed these pictures? Did the guy at Walgreens not have any objections to what he was seeing? The pacing of the movie is also painfully slow. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind a horror movie that takes its time. In fact, I usually prefer it. But that time has to be spent doing something, developing characters, building atmosphere, or tightening the tension. And while there are a few moments that manage to create some genuine suspense, there's almost no character development to back it up. The only person that we spend any time with is Mia, and everything we need to know about her is laid out in the first few minutes. Her sister's missing, and she wants to find her. That's it. There's nothing deeper to latch onto, so by the halfway point, the story kind of feels like it's standing still, as we watch Mia stare into dark rooms, walk through dark hallways, and watch videos in the dark. Ironically, despite this incredibly slow pacing, the movie also manages to rush to an ending that it does not properly set up at all. Again, for the sake of spoilers, I won't say any more than that, but if you've seen it already, then I'm sure you'll agree. Finally, Shelby Oaks is terribly derivative, so much so that one can't see this movie and not immediately think of other movies. And being inspired by other work is not the issue. The execution of how that inspiration is implemented is the issue. And if all a movie does is make the audience think of other, and frankly, much better movies, then that inspiration becomes imitation. And unfortunately, that's the case with Shelby Oaks. So, would I recommend this movie? No, not in theaters anyway. If you do want to see it, then I think streaming would be where you can get the most out of it. However, with its weak script and over-reliance on horror tropes, I can't honestly say that there's enough good about it to warrant the cost of a movie ticket, even at a discounted matinee price. Which means I'm giving Shelby Oaks a grade of a D+. In all fairness to Chris Stuckmann, on a technical level, Shelby Oaks is good enough that I think he'll be able to get more work. But he's got to let somebody else do the writing. I know there's a romantic notion of a writer-director who's able to bring their singular vision to life, but he's just not there as a writer, at least not yet. And if he never gets to that point where his writing is strong enough for a movie, there are great directors out there, like David Fincher, who don't write the movies that they direct. For a sophomore effort, Stuckmann should definitely stick to being behind the camera and put someone else in charge of the script. Well, that's it for this video, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and click right here to get bombinized or something, I don't know.
Tell that to Zod snapped neck.